Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Playing for Pizza by John Grisham. This is a standalone John Grisham book and is both different and similar to his other books. Most John Grisham books are these legal thrillers that are tackling these really deep subjects and have these really immoral, horrible characters, and they're really kind of dour, and they really have these kind of somber endings that you think you're going to get a happy ending, and then you kind of twist the knife a little bit and be like, ooh, maybe it's not that happy. And so this is a very different change of pace, because A, it's much shorter than most of his books. Most of his books are, 400, 500, 600 pages, in that range. This one barely cracks 300, and it has a larger font size. So it's a much shorter read. I actually picked this up specifically for two reasons. One is because I was looking for a really fun short read that I could do in an evening to try to rebolster my reading schedule after August, which was just a terrible reading month. I needed some short books to get me back in the swing of things, and this was one of them. And the other reason I read it is because my dad saw me buy this book, and he got really excited because he really enjoyed this book. And my dad is the person I share my love of John Grisham books with. I always call him after I finish a book and talk to him about the books. He doesn't always remember all of them because he read this book back when it came out, 20 years ago. But still, it's fun to talk with him about these. And so I picked it up and I read it, and it was delightfully entertaining. It's a fun, sweet book. It's basically about this football player who is down on his luck. Everything's going terribly for him, and he gets this offer to go play football, but in Italy, for the Italian Football League. And it's still football, it's still, the way you do football, but it's different because it's in Italy, and so he doesn't know the language or anything, but he just needs something to keep him busy, and he needs a job, and he needs to escape the U.S. because he's under some charges for some stuff. And so he decides to take his agent up on the offer, and he goes and plays for the Italian League. And the whole book is about him connecting with the Italian people, his friends, the people in the league. It's about him finding love in Italy, and it's also about him coming to terms with what he wants to do with his life. And in typical John Grisham fashion, the way he writes the romance in this book is very Grisham-like. The way he writes the interplay between characters, the dialogue's very Grisham-like, as is the world views espoused in the book. So in some cases, I classically understood that this was a John Grisham book. However, the plot and the purpose behind the book is vastly different, and the tone is vastly different because it's much more fun and lighthearted and silly. And so it was John Grisham stretching his writing muscles a little bit, and so I really enjoyed it. And in fact, when I told my dad I was reading this, he said, oh, you should also read Bleachers, which is also a football-related book, which is also really short and is also really fun. So it's like, all right, I'll have to read that soon, and so in a couple months I'll read that. But this book, it had some surprisingly similar elements to the Ted Lasso TV show on Apple TV Plus, which is about the character of Ted Lasso, who's an American football coach who goes to coach soccer in England, and it's about him dealing with the cultural differences, and there's a lot of similarities between the two. And I wonder if the Ted Lasso writers were influenced by this book, which came out years earlier, like a decade before Ted Lasso was being worked on. But this is just so entertaining, and it's so fun. And of course, it has a few themes about purpose in life and about the way you treat other people, but it's not deep like some of his other books. So it doesn't have that element that just makes me love it and make it a favorite Grisham book. And in fact, it's probably towards the middle or the bottom of the pack simply because every book he writes is entertaining, and not everyone can be a favorite. And so a book that's just good doesn't stand out. But it does stand out in the sense that it's different, and so it's memorable. But I had a blast reading the book. It's a quick read. If you discipline yourself, you can read it in one evening, maybe 2 evenings if you're not quite that fast. But it's a really quick read, so I highly recommend it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. So if you've read Playing for Pizza by John Grisham, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.